Hi, welcome to Tyne Valley Motorhomes. Something a little bit different today. We're going to be doing a handover on a Coachman Laser 675 Caravan. So starting off at the front, so you've got your jockey wheel, so you can adjust the height of the Caravan by lowering the back and the front with the jockey wheel, and this also helps when raising it to get it underneath the car for the tow bar. And then you've got the handle on the side, so once you've wound the wheel right down so the notch goes into the side of the jockey wheel, you can then release the handle and pull the wheel up once it's on the car, ready for towing. You've got 13-pin electrics here. Your breakaway cable, so some cars have a designated breakaway point, which is a loop that you hook the breakaway cable to, or if your car doesn't have this, if you just loop it around itself and then loop it around the neck of the tow bar, but leave it quite loose, don't leave it tight because it will apply the brakes as an emergency brake cable. You've got your Alco stabilizer head, and then if you lift this up, this is your hitch head. Lift it up, you can adjust the height and lower it down and it'll click down. And then if you just do a test by raising the jockey wheel, and if it raises the rear suspension of your car or the van that's towing the vehicle, you know that it's on fine. And then last of all, you've got your handbrake. So once you've got everything hooked up, you would then release the handbrake. But you do have ATC on this, which is Alco's trailer control. So that'll react to because the Caravan becomes very sensitive at high speeds, so this will keep the Caravan very sturdy on the road, so it will react to crosswinds, swaying, so the Caravan won't snake with this. This will apply the brake and slow it down and get the Caravan nice and stable again on the road when you're towing. So it'll take and the driver won't really notice it, it'll just sort itself out and make the Caravan safe to tow when towing. It'll also automatically run a test when you connect the electrics, so you'll hear it come on and off. It'll apply the brakes and then unapply them, and that's just doing a check. And then on the front of the Caravan, you've got your LPG lock on this side, so using your Trimark key, you can open up here, and then you do have space for two gas bottles, so 2 6-kilogram gas bottles. You'd use the straps to strap the bottles in. To get the pigtail on the bottle, it is a left hand thread, so opposite threads with it being gas, then you would hand tighten it. And then before you do start towing the vehicle, if you just turn the gas off, and then at the back here you'll notice you've got your empty PLM, which is your with your payload on. So that is what you can weigh with a payload in, which is 1,817 kilograms. And then your mass and running order is what you are empty, so it's 1,657 kilograms. So you would just subtract the empty PLM by the mass and running order, and that'll give you your payload. And then you've got your front and back axle weights and your VIN number of your Caravan. On the opposite side, you've got another locker like this, and in here you'll find your water carrier for your waste, a jack, and then you've got your external shower head in here. And then you've got various pumps, which I'll go through in the video. So going round to here, starting on this side, you've got your Aldi flue. So this just allows the fumes out from operating on gas, which the boiler is situated underneath your side facing lounge here. And then you've got your external shower point. So what you would do here is make sure the pump's on. It is just a cold water feed, and connect to here, and then you'll be able to, when the pump's on, you'll be able to hose the dogs off, your boots, your bikes, your shoes if you've been on the beach. And then you've got 2 pumps, so you can use whichever pump you want depending on if you're on a super site or you're not. So if you're not on a super site, you'd have to buy yourself an aqua roll, which looks like this, and you've got a wheel pump, so it's a submersible pump. So fill your aqua roll up, bring it back to the Caravan, pop this in, the connector goes into here, and then what you want to do is to keep it in, just push the flap down so it just bites over the top, and then that's stable. And then there's a little cover on there so you can cover the top of the aqua roll so no debris gets into your water. And then as soon as you put the pump on inside the Caravan, it'll suck the water from the Bowser aqua roll through, so you can use it'll fill your boiler, you can use your hot and cold tap, or if you are on a super site, forget about the aqua roll, you don't need to use it. You can use this connection, so same connection as that, but then at the back of the pitch on the post you'll have a hose pipe connection, so a water source. You connect to there, and then you'd leave it on constant, and then as soon as you open the tap it'll just pull the water through. Next to it you've got your battery locker. So in here you've got your battery, which is a 100 amp hour leisure battery. And then you do have your hookup point. So to hook the vehicle up, you'd get your hookup lead and hook up here. Hook the Caravan up first and then the power source, and do it in reverse order when unhooking the vehicle. And then if I just take the hookup out and you can look underneath, you've got a tele point. So if you were on a super site, carry a length of coax and you can connect to here and use their aerial if you want a hard to reach signalled area like the Lake District. And then you've got this red key, which is your motor mover isolation key, so it stops the motor mover from running down your battery by turning it off. But you'd pop that in and you can turn the power for the motor mover on and off. And there's 2 boxes underneath your side bench seat directly behind here, which is your modules for your motor mover. But I'll get onto the motor mover in a minute, and there'll be a separate clip on how to operate your motor mover. So at the back, so this is your waste water. You will need to buy yourself a waste master and the connection, because you'll need 2 points going into one, and just pop that into there, and that'll take the waste from all the taps and shower from the Caravan into the waste master. Once your waste master does indicate it's full, you'll just have to come and check if it's full or not. You can just put the cap on and wheel this to your waste disposal point. There's normally a dirty water point on the site, and just tip your waste master out, give it a rinse, and then bring it back and connect it back up. Or if you're on a super site, again, you'll not need a waste master. You can just carry some pipe long enough to put it into the gully at the back of the site, and it'll just drain off like normal, as it's a service pitch. And at the back you do have your toilet. So you've got a header tank with it being a Caravan, so you would get the pink liquid, dilute it with some water in a watering can or jug, and then open this here and pour that down there, which fills your cistern, which when you flush the toilet you'll get the pink liquid, which is also cleans the bowl and gives it a fragrant smell. And then below you've got your cassette loo. So this is where everything goes. This is what you've got to empty. Lift, slide out, make sure the blade's closed first, because if it wasn't you'll not get the cassette out, but I'll show you inside how to do that. You've got a handle on there so you can drag it, and some wheels so you don't have to carry it when it's full. Take it to your waste disposal site, which is beside your toilet block normally on a site. Remove the cap, press the button. It allows a bit of air in, stops it glugging and gives it a consistent flow. Tip it out. Once you have tipped it out, if you put some water in, put the cap back on, give it a rinse and tip out again. Then you'd put your blue and green liquid in here, which is 125 ml, fill the cap and tip it in, and then it's good to go. Or if you're using the tablet form, which is the newer form now, put a pint of water in, and then you can just drop the tablet in like this, or you can push it back into the toilet, the cassette into the vehicle, underneath the toilet, and drop one down into the cassette by opening the blade. But it's up to you whether you want to use the tablets or the chemical. It's entirely up to yourselves. So once you turn up on site, or you're at home and you're putting the van on the drive or putting it in storage, we always recommend that you put the legs down, because in the winds the legs give it a little bit more stability. So you've got 2 on the back and 2 on the front. The front ones are on the side of the Caravan, whereas the back ones are on the back. Get your winding handle, pop it onto the head of the nut there, and then you can wind it up. You can get a drill attachment for this if you want it to be a little bit quicker, because this is just a manual winding handle. Wind them up before towing, and then when you get to your site, you want to make sure that the legs are down to give it extra stability when you're using the Caravan. And like I've said, if we're going to get any high winds, putting the legs down when it's parked on the drive or in the storage yard is always better, so that the Caravan's got a bit more stability in the wind. And there is the leg down, and we do the same for the other side and the 2 at the front. And as we come down the passenger side of the Caravan, you've got storage underneath the bed. So there's your carpets, your winding handle for your steadies, and your spare wheel. You've got your fridge vents, your awning rail, which goes right the way around the top of the Caravan, so you can fit a big awning on the side of this Caravan if you were pitched for a long time. You've got your awning light. The tri-mark key again opens the door. Some storage underneath the front lounge seat. An external socket for power in your awning, and your external gas point. So this will use the bottle on the front of the Caravan for your Kadak or external barbecue. You'd need to cut this connector off, which is your quick release connector. Get some gas hose, which is the orange hose and the rubber type, and some Jubilee clips, and connect them together. Push it in the front and then turn the red tap, which is your isolation tap, and then that'll send gas from the bottle to your Kadak or external barbecue. So above the Caravan door is where your 12-volt control panel is. So if you're hooked up, you would get 240 volt. If you are off grid, you'll just get 12 volt off your leisure battery, and then you'll be able to press the master switch, which is this one here, which turns the vehicle off and on. And then you've got the time displayed on there, and then you can scroll through, so you can go to the settings and change the date and time, backlight settings and so on. As this Caravan has got a onboard water tank, which is of 30 litres, you can press this button here just underneath the pump button, and it'll say fill in tank, and it'll take the water from the aqua roll and fill the tank, which is underneath the bed at the back, which I'll show you. So it's got an onboard water tank, but you still need to either have an aqua roll there, so it'll transfer the water from the aqua roll into the onboard water tank, or if you are in a super pitch where you have a service pitch, you could connect your hose pipe to the side of the Caravan and to the tap, and then just use the hose pipe connection and leave that on. You've got your pump selection, whether you're using the external pump, which is the aqua roll, or you can use the internal pump, which is the pumping the water from the onboard water tank. So depends whether you want to fill your onboard water tank or you just want to use the aqua roll. This is the level of the water in your onboard water tank, as you would just have to keep an eye on the water in the aqua roll and listen for the pump, because you'll know when the pump's running dry because it'll just run on and it'll not be transferring any water. You've got your internal temperature, which is 24 degrees inside the Caravan. Your leisure battery voltage of 13.6 volts, but we are hooked up at the moment, so take the hook up out to get a true reading of what the leisure battery is. And if you were putting the Caravan into a storage yard, we always recommend that you take the battery off to charge it, especially in the winter, because if it got too low, once it's too low, there's no turning back and you can't then replenish the charge in the battery. You would have to change the leisure battery. You've got your pump here, so you can turn your pump on and off to use the taps, toilet and shower. And then you've got your internal lights, which are all individually switched around the Caravan, and then your awning light on the side of the vehicle. So you've got an awning light this side, and then you've got an awning light on the other side. So you need to turn the interior switch on for that one, and then there's a handy little switch in the cupboard, which I'll show you, just above one of your lounge seats. And across from your control panel, you have your Aldi panel. As this has got the Aldi wet system in this Caravan, you turn on and off from here. So turn it off, turn it back on, and then what you want to do is, once it turns on, this is kind of like the home screen, so it tells you the temperature that the Caravan is currently at. We're hooked up, it's on hook up, and the fan's on recirculation. You'd press menu. At the top, you've got you can go plus and minus, and it's got the thermometer in the house. This is the temperature that you want the inside of the van to be. So you can go all the way down, or you can go all the way to max to 30. And then below, we've got the water. So picture of a shower head indicates water. So if you didn't want the water on, you can turn it off. If you do want the water on, you'd go once, press the plus button till it goes to the half a bar, which is heating the water at 60 degrees. If you then want the water to go on to boost, you press again and it'll go to a full black bar. This will turn off the heating and prioritize the water. So if you want the heating and hot water on together, just go half, and then it'll heat both together. But if you were in desperate need of water, then you can put on a boost and it'll prioritize the water. If you are on a site, you wouldn't want to waste your gas, so you'd use electric. This is your little electric sign, so you'd use 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts, depending on the current they give you through the hookup lead. So normally you can use 2 to 3 on most big sites. On smaller CL sites and abroad, you may have to use 1 kilowatt, depending on the amperage they give you. But you can check when booking in or booking your site over the phone how many amperage they give you through the hookup lead, and then this will determine whether you use 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts. And then if you were going on a off-grid site, you couldn't use electric because you wouldn't be hooked up, but you'd use gas, which is this one here. So you can turn the gas on, and then this will heat the van off gas. Of course, you can use both together if you're away in the colder climates, and this will drastically reduce the time it takes to heat the Caravan or the water. And then you do have settings here, so you can set timers and so on, but I'll keep it nice and simple. There is loads of videos on this from Aldi themselves, and it is just an Aldi heating panel. So if you want to look into it a bit further, if you just YouTube Aldi heating panels, but for now we'll just tell you how to put the heating on, the water and the gas and electric, which is what you want to do when you arrive on site. On the door, when the door's open, you have a full-size fly screen, and then what you can do is you can lift the handle up and that locks the door, and then when you pull it down, the door then releases and you can open the door back up. You've got a bin on there, so you can put a bin bag in there and use that for waste, and you do have a blind on the Caravan door. So at the front of the Caravan you've got storage in the bottom drawer here, and then on the top one you've got the table extension, so you can slide this out and then lift it up and it'll marry up to the front of the van, and then when you're finished with it, if you just slide it out, push it down and it'll slide away. And that's great if you want to use it instead of getting the big table out for dining or cups of tea. And then at the front of the van you've got a fast charger, so this will work for iPhone 8 and above and Samsung 7s and above, and you can pop your phone on there and then it'll charge your device when hooked up. You've got light switches for your kitchen area and a 240 volt plug, and then 4 switches here. Pioneer speakers at the front, as you have a Pioneer head unit which is DAB, Bluetooth, USB, so you can connect if you want to listen to any music when you're on site, and press SRC to go through radio, through DAB FM, Bluetooth, Spotify, and auxiliary in, which is obviously the aux in, Bluetooth audio and USB. That's all on there. Storage above. In here you do have your TV aerial and your booster. So your booster, there's a little switch on the top, but just leave it on, it'll automatically turn itself off with the master switch on the control panel. But you have got a little toggle here so you can direct the amplifier to either max or min should you be struggling for a signal. If you are struggling for a signal and you've got it on maximum, try turning it down first to see if the signal's too strong. But if it's too weak, what you can do is loosen the nut, push the stem of the aerial up, and then use a toggle on the bottom to direct the aerial. But a tip is to look where the other motorhomes and caravans are pointing, and then before you do start towing the vehicle to the next site or home, always make sure that the aerial stem's pulled down and that the nut is fastened up so that the wind doesn't get underneath the aerial when towing. And then this little switch here is for the awning light, which is on the other side. So if you are leaving the vehicle for the evening to go down to the local pub or go for a walk and it's going to be dark when you get back, you can put the awning lights on both sides so you can find your way back to your caravan. And on the front, so you've got this panoramic skylight on the top with a blackout blind because it doesn't open, so it just needs a blackout blind. And then on this one you've got a blackout blind and a fly screen on the front windows, and then open them up, they're all the same. Release the handles, push the bottom two in with the buttons, and then either side turn the black knobs to keep the window out if you want a bit of ventilation in the summer months or if you take the caravan abroad. But then always make sure that your window is securely fastened before you do start towing the vehicle, because you don't want the wind to get underneath them and rip them off because they're very expensive. You've got all your individual reading lights, so turn it off, press once, it'll just bring on the back light, which is great for on a night if you want to just leave a little bit of light on, and then press again, it'll bring on the main bezel light. Storage in the front, and then underneath here, so you've got storage underneath this one, which is, you do have access from the locker door on the outside, but underneath this one you do have various items, so we'll go through it. Remove the cushions first to get proper access to here. The cushions do get lovely and warm as well with the radiators when the Aldi's on, because you've got fins down the back here, so it does get the caravan nice and toasty. So you've got your two modules for either side of your motor mover, so your Power Touch Evolution all-wheel drive motor mover. Your gas taps, so any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation service to keep the warranty up. The technician will test the gas and the electric to make sure that it's to the correct standard set by the National Caravan Council. But you do have your Aldi boiler here. So your Aldi boiler heats the vehicle and heats the water. So in the winter months, when the caravan's not in use, we always recommend that you drain it down, because you don't want this water to then freeze in here when we've got a hard frost and bad weather. So you've got two taps here, a yellow one there and a yellow one there. That one drains the hot water system as it's on the red pipe. That one drains the cold water system. You would lift them up like so and let them drain off. So stand them up on end. Leave them open during the time the vehicle is not in use over the winter, just so no water freezes in the boiler, in the pipes. Then what we would also recommend is that you would open all your taps within the vehicle to stop any air locking in the system and drain any water off that's in the pipelines. And then when you come to reuse the Caravan, shut these two, shut all the taps within the vehicle, get your aqua roll, fill it with water, connect it like I've shown you from outside, or connect the hose pipe connector, fill the vehicle with water, come in, put the pump on, fill the tank so that you've got water on board, turn the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get a pressurized cold water feed because it's coming straight in. Go to the hot side, you'll get nothing. It'll cough and splutter for a couple of minutes, because what it's doing is it's transferring the water from the aqua roll or the onboard water tank into here. So it's just going to push loads of air out, because there's 10 litres of water to be filled in here. So then once it's full of 10 litres of water, it'll start giving a pressurized flow through the tap. And then once you've got a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap, this is when you know that your system is then primed. Start off with the kitchen tap, then do the washroom, basin, shower tap, and then you're good to go. Your system's primed. You can leave it full of water once we don't have bad weather, but we'll always recommend that you drain it down of any water in the winter, because you don't want the water to freeze, because it then will void your warranty on the Caravan. At the front here you do have your RCD unit. So you've got your main 240 volt isolators and trips, so your MCBs, RCDs. So if you trip the Caravan out, try here before you try your main site. And then underneath you've got all your 12 volt fuses. So it would be a good idea to carry some spare fuses with you, just in case one fuse does blow. You can replenish the fuse and then you're good to go again. Or you can investigate and see why it's blowing the fuse, and it may need to come back to be looked at. But you can just check the fuses by pulling them out and having a look at them. But we always recommend that you do carry some spares, just in case one does blow randomly. You can pop another fuse in and you can get yourself going again. And then to create the front lounge into the second double bed, as this Caravan is a 4-berth, underneath your storage there's a little lever here, another handle. Slide that forward, it'll bring the lats out. You'll get to 2 stoppers here. If you then just lift it, slide it to the other side, and it'll put this into position where it's not going to move once the bed is in play. And then if you use your backrest from both sides of the, use the backrests into there, and then there you do have another double bed at the front of the van by using the 2 backrests from either side. To operate your Dometic fridge with separate freezer box, so you've got a large freezer box and a large fridge. So it's all done via this control here. So you'd press and hold to turn on and off. So if we turn it off first, you've turned it off, press and hold, get the Dometic logo, and then the fridge comes on. So you've got the temperature at the top, so if you press once you'll go into the temperature. So if you're pre-chilling the fridge at home, put it on full 5 bars, and then from personal experience, if you just turn it down to 3 or 4 when it's pre-chilled and your shopping's in, because sometimes the fridge can freeze with your shopping in and you don't want that, so just turn it down, that'll prevent that. But when pre-chilling, always put on 5, it'll get the fridge a lot cooler, a lot quicker. And then if you go down the middle, you've got which energy source you want to use. So this is gas, electric, or the battery off your tow vehicle from when the engine's running. So you've got auto, which will switch between the 3, so it'll automatically know when the vehicle is on the car and the engine's running, it'll get 12 volt. When you hooked up, it'll revert back to hook up, and when you haven't got hook up and you haven't got 12 volt, it'll turn to gas. So automatic, I would just leave it on that. But if you want to manually use it, you've got battery of the tow vehicle, so you would use this when you've pre-chilled it or you're moving from site to site. It's already cold, you've already got your shopping in, put it on that and your shopping will stay nice and fresh until you then hook back up or go on to gas. You've got gas on its own and you've got hook up. So if you are on hook up, you would, if you're on a site or at home, you'd use hook up as you've paid your site fees. You don't want to waste your gas, and this will act as a household fridge. And then you can go back at the bottom, and as you can see there, that's still on automatic and it's on hookup as we're hooked up. And then you can scroll down to the bottom one. You've got the backlight of this control panel here. You've got the beep on the fridge, so you can turn that on and off so it's not beeping when you're changing controls and clicking the buttons, because it can get a bit annoying. You've got the fan, which is at the back of the fridge, so you can turn the fan on if you are in hotter climates such as abroad, or in if we get a good summer and we get good heat, you can turn this on and this will just help prevent the fridge from overheating. And then you've got the fridge shell heater there, so that'll stop round the frame of the fridge, it'll stop the fridge from freezing. So when the fridge is on to its full temperature, it'll stop all the freezer and the fridge frame, which is called the frame heater, it'll stop it from freezing, so it'll put a bit of heat round there to stop the doors and the rubbers from sticking together. And then to turn off, you just press and hold. One thing with the fridge and freezer, once you do start putting the, if you're not using it for a while, if you're putting it away for the winter, we always recommend that you clean the fridge and freezer out, and then you want to leave the doors open on both compartments, because you don't want the mold and bacteria to start forming in there when the door's shut. So clean it out with some anti-bac and then just rest the doors like so, and it'll allow air circulation in and out the fridge and freezer, because if it didn't, that's when your bacteria and mold will start growing and your Caravan will start smelling and it'll be a fridge because you haven't left the doors open. Next to your fridge, you do have a slide out compartment with some racks on and your freestanding table with a little catch on there, so put the strap on to keep the table stored away when towing the Caravan. And then above you've got a nice place for your telly to go with 12 volt TV point. You've got a satellite point there if you were to fit a satellite dish to the Caravan. There's a point there, so it's ready to just be wired in. Twin USBs and two 240 plugs with storage above. Across from the fridge you've got your kitchen area, so you've got an arrangement of storage. Press the catches in for your travel catches, and you've got your cutlery drawer. This sponge just helps clean your shower tray, as it's, you don't want anything strong to clean your shower tray with, because you can discolour it. So light chemicals only, such as anti-bacs, no bleach, no nothing like that, because it's too strong. It will strip the colour off the shower tray. And then you want to use this or a microfiber, nothing abrasive on that. You've got a drainer, so you can pop that on the side, and then pop your plates and your glasses and your cutlery in there, and it'll just dribble in to the sink and drain away. Large pan drawer, pots and pans. Storage underneath your oven. You've got the plug there for your electric hot plate at the back of the oven, hob there on the top of the oven. So hot plate, this one here for the hot plate. That'll work only when connected to mains power via a hooker blade. Gas rings, so if I just light them now for you, use the ignition at the right hand side. As you can see there, the gas is working on the van as the gas has lit the rings. And then allow these to cool before you put the grill and or should I say the hob top down. And then below, grill, and below the grill you do have your oven, which is fired there. If you're struggling to get gas through on the Caravan as it's been sat for a while, if you always bring it through on the hob first, then all your other items such as your fridge, your Aldi system, and anything else that uses gas will then, because you've primed the lines, should light on gas following you pulling the gas through. Above you've got a Russell Hobbs 800 watt microwave, works on mains power there. Storage above, that's obviously an isolation plug for your microwave, so if it's giving you any bother you can just unplug that. Cup rack, plate rack or bowl rack, it's up to you, and some storage this side. And then you've got a little switch on here for the under counter LED strip light. Once the pump's on, you'll be able to open your tap, and this will drag from your onboard water tank or your aqua roll, which will then fill the boiler. So if you're on the hot side, it'll come from the boiler, and that water is lovely and hot there. As you can see, the steam coming off the water. Or you can go to the cold side and it'll pull the water through. In the wardrobe at the back, because you have an Aldi heating system and it's a wet system, it does require antifreeze, so it needs a header tank. This is your header tank for your Aldi system. So if you ever need to top it up, just top it up from the top, and you've got a little breather pipe here. So don't worry what that pipe is, it's just a breather pipe for the liquid. Always run the system up first, and then you'll be able to see where it's sitting at, if it's sitting at min or max. If it's sitting in between or too low, then you can turn it off and top it back up. But the Aldi liquid has a 5-year lifespan, so every 5 years you need to change the liquid. And there's 5 different liquids you can use. Obviously you can use Aldi, but they do recommend 5 other antifreezes. But if I was you, I'd just stick with Aldi. Liquid, you can get that from get that online or any other caravan and motorhome dealership service centre, and they'll change that every 5 years. You will have to request that on your service, but it's a 5-year fluid change. So underneath your island bed, if you lift it up from the front, this is your onboard water tank. So it holds your water. Again, in the winter, you want to drain it down, you just pull this out and it'll start draining the liquid on the floor, and then just push it back in to hold the water back in the tank. But when winterizing, if you just pull it out and just leave it loose a bit, any water in there will then just drain out on the floor underneath the van. Because if you didn't, you can cause damage to the tank itself by allowing the water to freeze in the tank. And then when you reuse it, just pop it back in. Make sure that you've got an aqua roll or a hose connector connected to the van for water, and then just press fill in. Go on the control panel, it'll say fill tank, just press enter, and it'll start filling the tank from there, and it'll push the water into here, and then you can view your water level and it'll tell you how much water you have on board the Caravan. When the bed back of the mattress is pushed up like so, this is in day mode. When you're not using it, you've got loads of space to get round to both wardrobes, into the bathroom, around the Caravan. And then what you can do is pull the handle on the bottom out to here, pull the mattress out, lie the mattress flat, and then you've still got space to get round, but it's not as big as when the bed's pushed back. But this would be on when you're using it on a night. You've got a larger mattress there and the bed's bigger for you to sleep on. So now inside your rear washroom, which is a large washroom, as you can see, you've got your shower cubicle, which is a large shower cubicle. When winterizing again, so you've left all your taps open, including your mixer tap on your shower. If you just remove your shower head from the hose and lie the hose in the tray, any water that's coiled up in here, it'll just be able to dribble out through the waste and will prevent freezing in the pipe. But you've got your shower cubicle with shelves for your toiletries, and then a magnet shower door there, which is quite strong. Hanging rail for your towel, for your coats, for spare towels. Fly screen and blackout blind on your skylight vent, which you can push up and have one side open and one side down, or one side depending on where the wind's coming from, or you can have both sides open and tip one side down. Just, it's up to you, but always make sure all your skylights and windows are securely fastened before you start towing the Caravan away. Large toiletry space underneath your hand basin on your vanity unit. The taps working there, and again your water's lovely and hot, and you've got the plug there, so you can either leave that in loose and it'll still drain the water off, or you can put it in your toothbrush holder there. As you've got the Aldi heating system, you've got a towel rail, and this gets really warm, so you can put your towels on there, and you've got some more storage up above the window and a large mirror. And then to operate your toilet, make sure the pump's on and you'll be able to press the blue button. So then what you'll be able to do is press the blue button at the back, which is your flush, ensuring the pump's on, and you'll get the flush. Obviously this has got the blue in, so you can get the blue or the pink liquid to mix. What I would do is I would carry a watering can, because it's so easy filling the header tank with a watering can than it is with anything else. Press, always flush first, which helps lubricate the seal between the blade and the toilet, and it ensures that everything goes into the cassette. So if you get into a habit of flushing first, then opening the blade before you use the toilet, which is slide to the right, use the toilet, everything will go into the cassette, you'll get no leaks around the cassette, and then what you'll be able to do is flush after use and then slide back to the left, which will lock the cassette and ensure that you can get it out the outside of the vehicle, because if you were to leave it open, you'll not be able to get the cassette out because it's in the open position, so it's jammed. Closing it will allow it to come out, but always get into a habit of closing it after use. It'll stop the smells, it will stop anything from leaking back into the toilet if you want to tow it with it open. Just keep it closed, and then you'll be able to empty it when you get an illuminated light underneath the cassette diagram on the top of the toilet. So to operate your Power Touch Evolution Auto Motor Mover on this Caravan, what you've got to do is, so get your key, pop your key in, and turn it to the front of the van. This will then send power from the leisure battery to your control modules for your motor movers. Once you've turned it on, if you then use your remote, and to turn the mover on, you'd press and hold both buttons here, and this is now saying that your mover is now on. But the mover isn't actually on the wheel. So what you've got to do to get the mover to the wheel is press this button here, which is the engage button, and which way you want it to go. So you want it to go to the wheel or away from the wheel. So to use it, you want it to go to the wheel. So press and hold, and you'll see the motor mover move, and it's starting to roll onto the wheel. Just leave it until it stops. And it'll go through its cycle until it stops there, and both movers, front and back, on both sides, are on the wheel. Then what you want to do is you want to just release your handbrake, drop your handbrake down once the mover's engaged, and then you can go front and back. So you move the Caravan back, you can move it forward. Obviously the diagram shows the hitch at the front, so there's forward, there's back, so you might want to hold it that way. Bring the Caravan forward. You can twist the Caravan by pressing forward in which way you want to turn it. So if you are struggling to get it in on the driveway or on the site, as it's a tight manoeuvre, just unhook it from the car, put the mover on, and you can adjust the Caravan by on the mover itself. And then once you've finished with it, before you turn the mover off, if you just disengage the mover before you tow, so again, put the handbrake on first, disengage the mover, so again, press the middle button here, and then you want the red one, which is engage, disengage, and you'll hear the mover making its whining noise. And as you can see there, the movers and the rollers are coming away from the wheel. So wait until this then flashes green, which means it's either on or it's off. So if we just look at the remote, and then it flashes green there, which means the mover is off the wheel, it's now ready to tow away, and it'll flash like that when the roller is on the wheel ready to use the mover. And then isolate the mover so you don't drain your battery. You can remove the key and just pop the key in there, and then you're good to now tow the vehicle away or park the vehicle up. And then finally, don't forget to turn your remote off by pressing both power buttons in. Until the green light goes out, and then that's the remote turned off. So you'll never have a dead motor mover remote when you come to reuse the Caravan next time.